Hey, welcome to Hooper's Radar. Today, we'll be discussing the surprising start that this Utah Jazz team has had to the season and how they absolutely destroyed the narrative that they were going to tank. Let's get into it. The Utah Jazz were a team in the offseason that many of us thought were going to tank after trading away both of their franchise players in Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. They also parted ways with longtime head coach Quinn Snyder, but these two stars were for the most part the forefront for why this Jazz team had been competitive in past years. So it was right for us to think that no matter what the Jazz got in return for these two, it wouldn't be good enough to stay competitive as a playoff team and would result in a season of tanking. Well, it looks like so far most of us were wrong because the Jazz stand at the number one team in the Western Conference with a record of 10-3. Maybe some of us could have seen a solid record of 6-6, but 10-3 is way over a winning record and very impressive for this team. But I can't just say how impressive this team has been without listing some important contributors who have clearly been putting in the work. In my opinion, Lauri Markkanen has been the best player on this Utah Jazz team so far. He's helped win many of the games in clutch situations and is the leading scorer of this team. He's averaging a monster stat line of 22.7 points, 2.5 assists, and 8.8 rebounds. He showed potential of being this good back in his Chicago Bulls days, but now Lauri is finally showing why you should bet on him. He's such a versatile player who provides good rebounding, can shoot, pass a bit, and get to the rim or post up. I can't be any happier to see him having a breakout season. Another player who's been important to the success of this team is Jordan Clarkson, who in past years was an elite six-man but is now a starter on this team. He's provided great shot creating, solid playmaking, and hustle for this team and has stepped up as a leader. He's also a great option to go to in crunch time situations. He's averaging 18.6 points, 5.2 assists, and 4.5 rebounds per game. One thing that has notably gone up is his assists. Since being inserted into the starting lineup, he's had more playmaking duties next to Mike Conley in the backcourt, and his increased assist numbers show that. Speaking of Mike Conley, he's been very important to this team too. He's never been a crazy scorer, but his facilitating and leadership as a veteran starting point guard for this team has been a big contributor to the great start they've had. He's looking like Chris Paul for this Utah Jazz team with effortless decision making on the playmaking side. He's currently averaging 12.1 points, 8 assists, and 2.3 rebounds per game. Very good production from your starting point guard. Two guys I want to give honorable mentions to who have also been important are Kelly Olynyk and Collin Sexton. This Jazz team kind of seems like the 2014-15 Atlanta Hawks, where they have multiple double-digit scorers and many contributors. Collin Sexton, who was coming off the bench for this team, has been a great scoring punch, averaging 13.7 points per game and has showed out in a couple games. Kelly Olynyk is another guy with great contributions who is starting for this Jazz team. He's been very solid defensively and has done his usual offensive things like stretching the floor, setting screens, and going for rebounds. He's averaging 12.3 points, 3.2 assists, and 4.2 rebounds. Not to mention, at the moment, he's shooting a blazing 56% from 3 at the moment. He's been awesome this season. After all, the players I've mentioned, you would think this Jazz team is pretty deep, but they still have some other great players off the bench like Talen Horton-Tucker, Malik Beasley, Walker Kessler, and Rudy Gay. This shows you how deep this team really is. I'm confident if they make an effort to actually be competitive this season and don't decide to tank after the deadline, they can make the playoffs similar to how the 2014-15 Hawks did. They have all the pieces they need to make the playoffs and have been pretty good defensively and offensively so far this season. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. For more content like this, please make sure to like and subscribe to stay on the radar for all things basketball.